you know, having this there does really hit that point home.
Did you say
Let
the
me see if I can
Axion
get.
is going to have inserted scales similar to the Synapse? I didn't hear if you said that was the case. It's hard to tell from the design.
The Axon is actually, this is micarta or
Oh,
G10,
all right.
and then the liner is, you know what? This is actually a bad color.
Let's go for like that OD green.
Purple.
Yeah, let's see if I can grab. There you go. So, kind of the idea is that, let me do that just because that I think that show now it looks bronze. And actually,
For red.
I am potentially going to come out with one of these in copper. And I am going to try to do the same thing. And it's funny because I'm talking to Spyderco guys who love accessorizing their knives and changing scales and doing that stuff. And I think it translates to my designs also. You know, having the ability to change your inlays, or soon you're going to be able to order Cerakoted clips and backspacers and stuff like that. I did want to just quickly show you guys this is wrong. Forget it. I think that's wrong. I don't think that actually has the correct updated size on it. So that actually might be right. No, maybe it's not. Sorry. I actually haven't touched this drawing in a while, so this might not be the right drawing. But the blade length is going to be between the Synapse and the Impulse. So it'll be a 3.5-inch blade. I think that's what my prototype's coming in at, and I'm going to see how I like it. But I think that's going to make this a really functional knife.
Sold.
I just saw how the Integral's blade continues straight into the handle. That is really slick looking, though.
Yeah, thank you.
I didn't catch that the first time. That's really slick.
Yeah, I think one thing you guys will see as a trend for my knives is linearity. I don't know, is that even a word? Things will meet up. Curves will come together. There'll be it's like little Easter eggs that you wouldn't really know unless you took out a compass and a protractor and did all that. But at least for me, while I'm designing it, it's nice to see. Anything else? Any other questions? Anything you guys want to see? Let me get my shoot.
Yeah, I just a statement, then a question. I'm kind of late to the game in finding out about you and your brand, but I'm a University of Florida graduate, undergrad, University of South Florida for my graduate degree. So I know you're in Florida, and that was one thing that drew me to your brand. Of course, the design is intriguing as well. For someone like me, how much longer am I going to need to wait to be able to pick up a Synapse or an Impulse?
Yeah, not to put me on the spot at all, but so first of all, I'm sorry that you live in Florida. It was so hot out today. It was so ridiculously hot.
Actually, I'm in Ohio now, but I'm originally from Florida.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's so bad down here. I just don't know what to do with myself. It's just so hot. Yeah, I'm trying to deflect. So, okay, so I have probably, I held back about 10 impulses that I was going to bring to Blade Show. And I'm not sure the total just yet, probably about 20 synapses. I was going to bring in a Blade Show and maybe do a lotto or something for people that were going. I don't know. I planned on getting a table way back, but that obviously didn't go.
You could reward people in this chat here with the ability to buy one.
That would be a heroic move. I agree.
Do you ship to Australia?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to deflect a little bit more. One of the coolest things about this is the fact that just last week I shipped to the UK, Australia, Denmark, and some other place way over there. That's pretty fucking cool. That's just something I never even thought about, you know, like somebody on the other side of the world, literally, wanted this thing so bad that they paid $100 for it, paid $30 to ship it, didn't mind waiting for it. That's just pretty damn cool. Okay, back to the point. I am going to do a lotto for everything that's left. I am going to do lottos on Instagram. I'm going to do lottos on Facebook. And I'm going to do lottos on my newsletter. So you guys have a very, very good chance. This is being recorded, so I'm going to be very careful with what I say. And I promise that I will be very, very fair in how everybody gets one of those knives. Okay.
Sign up for the newsletter though, guys, because the newsletter has got some really good tips on when the stuff drops and things like that. It's definitely worth being on the mailing list to get that information.
Thank you. The mailing list has done really, really well. I've been surprised. I'm very careful. I only send. Seth will tell you I don't send them frequently, and when I do, it's because of something. There's something I want you guys to know. I don't spam you guys. I think at this point you guys probably can tell I'm not a salesman. I'm not sending emails. 20% off if you know. If you want my product, I want you to want my product. You know, if you're buying it, I don't want you to regret it later because you saw an email that sold you on it. It's something that you want to buy and you want to own. So I'm very careful with my emails. A very good point. Thank you.
It's hard to give discounts on things that are sold out.
That's also a good point.
Yeah, that's really the rub with this whole hobby is that scarcity drives demand, but if it's too scarce, then no one's going to want it because they can't have it or no one's getting it. So doing this in batches is great because it's manageable for you and it's manageable from your finances. And then I'm starting to appreciate how much time you put into each knife before it ships. So
yeah.
If you were to do 3 different knives in a run size of 500 for each style, we'd all love it, but you'd probably have to quit your job and do nothing but adjust knives all day to get them out the door.
True, exactly. And there are benefits to that. Not the whole quitting my job portion. I love my job. I mean more like, you know, business aspect, cost benefit ratio of putting 1,500 knives out there versus 300, 400, 500 at a time. You know, one, you don't want to saturate the market, of course. You know, exclusivity is important too. I don't want to only put out a certain amount of knives because I want them to be hard to get, because that's good for marketing. I try to straddle the line of putting enough out there that people that want it can get it, and then sure, maybe the fact that the secondary market right now is good and that's good for business, and if you can buy, what's the one thing you want the most is that one thing you can't have. And then people talking about it. Hey, if you see this knife for sale, let me know. That's all really good. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's just, I'm trying to figure all that out right now, but I don't think putting out 1,500 knives is the right call,
The deal with the Axiom is going to be very difficult, because if there's too few made, you're going to see them being worth twice as much as you are selling them for initially. And I've already seen, because I've been watching Best Damn EDC's Discord. I saw one person willing to sell his Impulse. The offer was 4 figures. Okay, so
they are
needless
doing
to
very
say,
well on
there's
the
some
secondary
very
market.
interested people.
Yeah, it's interesting. They sell well on the secondary. I don't, and that's actually kind of a good point too. I am glad that I brought out a Gen 2 to kind of alleviate that a little bit.
That helps.
It's one of those things. Yeah, I feel bad. Listen, I have this knife. This is a.
He's flexing. He's just flexing right now.
Well, I will tell you. Maybe I shouldn't tell you what I paid for it, but I got this knife from Angie and Joe as a prototype to give feedback on. I didn't pay secondary prices for this. I technically didn't even pay, what a normal one goes for. This is a utility. This isn't a Spectre refined. This is technically 1 of 10, but it's actually 0 of 10 because it's a prototype. I'm very glad I have this, because the secondary market on this, good or bad, say what you will for it, it sucks. It sucks that there's, 700 people chiming in on a post that will never be able to hold one of these, and so I'm glad I was able to kind of alleviate that want for a lot of people.
Yeah. It's interesting. I see a lot of parallels between your brand and Holt Blade Works, between yourself and Joe and Angie. And I wondered if you knew them, or if they knew you. But like you, I find them. Of course, everybody loves Joe and Angie, and I would love to own one of their knives, but I don't think I ever will.
Yeah, right, exactly. I had a sub 100 knife. I was in with them very early. I got to see them progress as a company. So that definitely influenced me in how I run my company. Jason at the beginning of this showed his Arius. Very, very big fan of Koenig. I was in with him early also, and one of my favorite knives was an Arius. I've had multiple of them. I even had the Stormtrooper, which this is, I'm not saying I stole the idea from him, and I don't think he was the first person to do it, but that definitely influenced it. But I'll tell you this, the one thing that I got most from both of them was their customer service. Angie was so approachable. She answered the question. She didn't care if you asked a stupid question. She took the time to answer it. Her customer service is phenomenal. Interaction. I will tell you that the knife that I got there were some QC issues with it, a lot. And the reason I think they sent this to me was because I gave them very honest, and I hope, value added feedback on it. So I think that's why they approached me for this one. And they took that feedback extremely, extremely well, and a lot of people wouldn't. So I hope when you guys give me feedback, I hope I can convey that to you guys as well. Bill Koenig, I had a problem with one of the knives. I didn't buy it for him. I bought it secondhand. I sent it to him. He refinished the entire knife and sent me a goddamn shirt. I never gave him a penny. I never gave him a penny because I bought it secondhand, and that's what he did. That's customer service right there. I've bought 2 knives from him since then, and I will buy another knife from him. You know, did he do it? Did he do that so that I would buy more knives from him? I don't know. Probably not. He probably did it because he thought it was the right thing to do. So I hope that you know, at least in the future, and hopefully all my interactions in the past were, you know, at least a little bit of that in there.
So follow-up question, since you mentioned Holt, is it all in your plan or your goals to have your own manufacturing capability?
No. I am a designer. My day job, I design tech for law enforcement. In doing that, I've designed drones. I design data link boxes that get video from helicopters and planes and stuff. I design monitors that SWAT teams run into buildings with. I wouldn't be with that company still if I wasn't able to design really, really cool, fun stuff. That sounded weird. I am still there. I work there because I love working there, doing that, designing that stuff. Translating directly into designing knives, AutoCAD. I wake up in the morning and I have an idea, and I can't wait to sit down and put that into CAD and see how it works, and then print something out and go, God damn, that feels good in hand. That's this is what I like doing. And I think if I had to take the time to produce this myself, I would have lost so much time designing this. This wouldn't be here right now. I guarantee that. Jason wouldn't have been able to say, I love the bolster lock. I wouldn't have gotten that feedback. Yeah, people would have said, oh, I love how you did this in the machining process. But that's not where I get, my joy from. It's the design aspect. I'm very glad that I was able to partner with Best Tech, because they're able to take my feedback and be my surrogate machine shop. They do it how I ask. They don't, their engineers are very smart and realize why I asked for that, and not go, that's a bad idea. They if they have concerns for their machining process, they'll let me know. But they produce my knife. I've talked to other designers, and I don't want to badmouth how they do things, but a lot of designers send 2D drawings. That's not your knife now. What's that?
Napkin drawing?
Yeah, exactly. Back of napkin drawing. How do you know it's going to be what you want, or you just don't care? You just want it. You just want that design like that. I don't know. These milled pockets right here, that I needed those on there. You know, that's something that I wanted to have there. That's where I want my finger to land, and I want it to land right there. You can't get that in a 2D drawing, and you know, and most manufacturers might say it's cost prohibitive to put those there. But you know, I get the knife that I want. I get it designed how I want. So I hope that doesn't disappoint. You know, I hope that doesn't like stray you guys away from the brand. Not, you know, not expecting you know, a Vero designed, Vero made knife. I kind of hope that progresses the, you know, the brand to going, now I can focus on that flashlight and design that flashlight, you know, the integral lock and the liner lock, and spend time to make more designs that, you know, maybe you're not a liner lock guy, but you are an integral lock guy, you know? So if I had to design it and manufacture it, you wouldn't have gotten that integral lock. I don't know. I hope that makes sense.
Focusing on what you're good at.
Yeah.
If you took your totals from every knife you've made, forgetting the manufacturing, the totals would not be able to come up with the amount that the machining and the engineering and everything that's in that shop. You couldn't produce it at the way you wanted to. You would spend so much time trying to make sure it's the way you wanted. You know, it'd be very hard to be satisfied to the level that you're satisfied with it, right?
Yeah, and that's interesting. So, Grismo, you might say that he's one of the best manufacturers. His stuff is absolutely, yeah, his stuff is absolutely incredible. He has a couple knives, you know, and he doesn't, and that's good for him. That's what he wants to do. He wants to make the knives, and he wants to make them perfectly. And he wants to make them, you know, exactly how he wants to make those couple knives. That's him, you know? That's not me. I changed this design. No hyperbole, 700 times, you know, like I changed it and I changed it and I changed it, and then I got it, you know, I got it how I wanted it. If I did that in machining, I'd make 2 knives a year.
I think the important thing to remember is that there's a misconception that if it's not all in-house, it's not as good. Everyone has this impression that if you can't control every piece of everything all the time, it's not going to turn out right. And I bet if you really think about it, there's not many products in your life where that's actually how they're made. Your car is certainly not made that way, right? Music instruments aren't made that way. Computer parts aren't made that way. We use contract manufacturers to do very specific things. And somewhere there's an ethos, which is generally the sales department. And the sales department are the weasels that make you think you're buying something that's all in-house. You know, Spyderco is a perfect example. They do not make their own G10. They do not do their own heat treats. It's basically a big building where they grind steel. And then they assemble knives and they put them in boxes and then they mail them out. So what is Spyderco really? Are they a knife maker? They provide knives, but do they have elves whittling them out of ore? No. You know, they don't smelt their own ore. So for you found a business partner that's able to execute your play exactly the way you want it done. And I don't know why you would need to take the time and effort to build a factory just to replicate what you already have now. That's scalable. Right. You have a relationship that's very scalable. You never have to retool.
Yeah. And that actually speaks to I want these in people's hands. I want people to use these. Dude, I want to tell you, one day I'll be walking down the street and I'll see a Vero clip pass me and I will lose my goddamn mind. You know, that'll be like that'll be the thing, you know? Right. And, you know, and it's not because I want to sell it to him. It's because I want him to have it. I want it to be used. I want it to be out there, you know? Maybe I change the knife market a little bit. That would be cool. You know, maybe, you know, it's just that that's, I don't know. Maybe I'm waxing poetic, but that's, you know, that's a big thing right there.
You picked
Absolutely.
a guy to manufacture your knives, or not a guy, but a group to manufacture your knives that are hungry. They're hungry to beat up on all these other people, make them nervous that they're producing something even better than them. So I think that's the impressive thing is I haven't seen many knives that are produced en masse the way these knives are made. This is on a whole new level.
Yeah, they're doing it really well. I was very surprised with the quality of the prototypes that came out. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Adam Purvis. He's kind of the first guy I talked to about producing these, and he suggested using them, using Best Tech as the OEM. And I am so glad that he suggested them. When these prototypes came in, you know, I hoped they would be good. I was absolutely floored by them, and I was a little concerned that they took their time on these to make these good, and then the production, because there was 100 of them, you know, they do what they have to do to get them out the door. And anybody that has a Gen 1 Impulse, I hope you guys can agree that they are made well. The tolerances are good. They took the time to, you know, there's no sharp edges, and there's no, you know, it's done well, you know. Anything
Yeah,
else?
I think absolutely. I think if you look at some of the other makers, I mean, there's some, again, I love Bill, great guy, 2 models. You know, if you look at Reeve, you have, again, 2, 3 models. The Holts are switching over from Spectre to the haptic. So again, when you make your own stuff, I think that they're, you know, if you're looking to make multiple models of different things, you know, I know like Felix over at Something Obscene Company, he does designing also, and then he has other OEMs that do his stuff, as does Matt Westberg out in Arizona. And again, great knives, but to make those runs, they have them, you know, done somewhere else because they're also doing other things. But it's a smart thing in terms of, you know, getting something that's going to be produced to multiple people and not at these, you know. Again, I love my Holt. It's great. It's not a $1,500 knife. It's a $700 knife, which I paid for it. I got it for $700 on a lotto. But again, great family, great people. I'm good friends with the Skiffs also upstate New York. They make some really cool knives. But they do like one model at a time, and it's, you know, takes a while to get done, and, you know, because again, they're doing it in-house and whatever.
They're doing it in-house, exactly.
Yeah.
Guaranteed we wouldn't be having this conversation if you were doing it in-house. That fulcrum wouldn't even exist yet.
Yeah, true. I mean, yeah, I'd still be on the Impulse, and, you know, and it's okay because there is a place for both, you know. Let me put it this way. There's $7 knives, you know, there's $100 knives. There's a place for all of them. You know, this is probably the most expensive knife I own, and you know, that's hard to say because it'll probably, if I sold it, it would probably be the most expensive knife I own. But this is one of the lesser expensive knives I've bought. But I understand the value, right? Because it's all about. I think Seth made a great point. What is this knife worth? Well, it's all about what it's worth to that one person that's paying for it, right? It's all about a feeling. It's all about being able to say I owned one, or I own one, and put it on your Instagram. Is these materials worth $1,500? No. You know, is the machining worth $1,500? No. But being able to put it on Instagram and tell your friends you have it and be able to check it out, is that worth $1,500? Yeah, I mean, it is. It has to be, because people pay that all the time. So, you know, that's another thing. This is a, you know, this is a $350 knife. Do people want to spend $450 on it? Yeah, I mean, these have been selling. You know, this model sold for like $600 one day. Is it a $600 knife? No, it's not. You know, it's a production knife. But being able to own it and show your friends and put it on Instagram and say you had one, you know, that's $600. It's worth $600 to somebody, and I totally get that. So yeah, I think that goes back to the whole, you know, if I did make them in house, I would sell them for $600 or $700, and then they would be worth $600 or $700. Then maybe they sell for more, but you know, I don't necessarily need to do that to warrant, you know, somebody wanting and coveting one of these knives. So